Okay, welcome back. So I was trying to think what I wanted to talk about next. I'm just trying to think of it's so hard to be going in chronological order. I'm just gonna be straight up with myself. I think I'm just gonna have to talk about whatever I've been thinking about lately, if that makes sense. I've been thinking about certain things that have happened in the past that I kind of want to talk about. So I think I'm just going to go with whatever, and then on some days, if I just can't think of anything, I'll be like, well, let's talk about this, and, jump around a bit. I think something that's been bothering me lately is, let me try to preface this. Basically, when you go no contact, and I think my friends and family aren't going to really understand what I'm talking about unless they actually do some research, because, I feel like me talking about certain things, I feel like a snowflake. The things that I went through weren't nearly as bad as other people, but I know a couple of friends that I've told that to. They're like, just because what you went through wasn't as severe as other people doesn't mean it still wasn't abuse regardless. And I was like, that's pretty accurate. So I'm trying to think of how to preface this. Basically, when my parents, I don't even know, oh my god, if I could talk. Like I said, I was always the adult in the family. We'll just call it as what it is. My parents were not the adults, they were just people that I had to deal with. I was the adult in the family. I had to take care of my sister. I had to be, the emotional crutch of my mother. I was, the emotional and sometimes physical punching bag of my father. So when I got older, I've always been overweight, so I never really actually thought I would get a boyfriend. So I was kind of I would just, I don't know how I'm going to go with this. I'm either going to go with the cheating story or, the story that nobody really knows about. I think I'll try and do both. We'll see how long the video will go, because, like I said, I record on my phone, and I don't have a huge amount of memory, but we'll just go with it. Anyway, so, my self-esteem is non-existent. I never thought that I deserved to have a boyfriend. Not that I didn't want one, but it was just I knew I was overweight, and I knew I was ugly, and I think I have a decent personality. People laugh a lot when they're around me, just because, I like to make people laugh, but, high school and middle school kids are petty, and if you're overweight and everything, you're automatically just a leper. Nobody wants to date you, and all that stuff, and that was fine. I accepted it. I was just gonna do me. I was gonna have fun in high school for the most part. As fun as I was able to have, let's go with that. I didn't have as much fun as I should have had, but I had fun when I was able to make it fun. So sophomore year in high school, sophomore year, I actually started having a crush on one of the people in drumline, because I was in color guard. And the show for that year, we had a point where, the drumline would be in a triangle. I don't even know. The show was so bizarre. They were in a triangle tarp, and, we had to rescue the drumline people, and the guy that I was rescuing, I started to have a crush on. And looking back now, I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with me? He was very unattractive, but he was smart. And, I always had a thing for nerds because, I'll just be honest, my mom even said once, if you date a nerd, you'll probably date money, and, you'll go into money, which I didn't date people because of money. That's just the joke, is, if you date the nerds, and you're good to them and whatever, they just usually make money and stuff. But my mom was like, oh yeah, no, see if he'll go on a date with you, and, he was very socially inept, so it was really hard to try and be like, hey, do you want to go hang out? And him not think oh yeah, you want to go to, a Star Wars convention? And I'm like, no. Because back then I wasn't really interested in Star Wars. So we hang out a couple times, but the thing that sucked for this is, I really had a crush on him. And he seemed to have a crush on me, because he would, talk to me and start calling me babe and stuff, and, 15, 16-year-old me was like, oh my god, he's calling me babe, I wonder if we're gonna, end up being boyfriend and girlfriend or whatever. And the thing that sucked was this ass clown. He was also like, well, I like you, but I also kind of like this other person in drumline, but I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. And, I should have known then just to drop him. Like, I shouldn't have even entertained it any more than that. It's like, oh, you have, like, feelings for another girl, then bye. Like, I'm not gonna deal with you. I'm not gonna be, like, an option. I'm going to be the only option. So, like this, I hate how intuitive I am with certain things. The Christmas that, like, he and I were talking, my parents took us to Florida for the very first time, and I didn't have a cell phone. This is before, like, cell phones were a huge thing, which makes me feel so old. Well, I mean, they were, like, a huge thing, but, like, not everyone had one at that point. So I didn't have a cell phone, and I was talking to him on AIM, if that says anything to you. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to be gone for a week, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, yeah, well, I'll miss you, and blah, blah, blah. And, like, as soon as we were leaving for Florida, I was like, as soon as I come back, this is going to be over. Like, he's going to talk to the other girl, and it's going to be done. And I was right. As soon as I got back, he was like, yeah, I think I'm going to try and, like, pursue this other person. Sorry. Like, we can still be friends. And I was like, yeah, bye. So that hurt, but luckily I wasn't, like, super deep into it, but I was just like, I really wanted, you know, like, a boyfriend, and we were in marching band together, so it would have been fun to, like, be together on weekends, because we'd be at competitions together, and, like, all my other friends were dating or flirting with people in band, and that was just how it was, and I always felt alone in that situation. So, go to junior year of high school. If any of my friends watch this, they'll know where this is going. I met a fuckboy. Before we even had that term, fuckboy. So we actually were huge fans of Twilight. This is before the movies ruined everything, and, you know, it has the stigma now. We were at a book release party at Books A Million, and we were, I don't know, I'm trying to think of what my friends would consider what we were. Like, I wasn't super into it just because my parents wouldn't let me dress like that, but I think we were seen emo, goth type group of people. That's just kind of how we would dress sometimes. I don't know. They would have to correct me on what they considered our group of friends were. Like, I know we were nerds and marching band people, but I don't know. Anyway, so we were there, and we met this dude, and I mean, he was super cute. Like, I thought he was really cute, but I knew I didn't stand a chance, because he was just kind of like those guys where he's, like, super skinny, and he wore eyeliner, and he just had the look that I liked at that time. And he started paying attention to me, and I was super shocked. I was like, oh yeah, like, you know, whatever, but it wasn't really a thing yet. And let me see. I don't even know who he got in contact with, because I know one of my friends that I'm still friends with to this day had emailed me on MySpace, of all things. It was like, hey, he wants to know if you want to go see a movie or something, and, like, we didn't go to a movie, but we went and hung out at the park, because we were all 16-year-olds just hanging out and had no money over the summer, or whatever. Yeah, I want to say it was over the summer. Yeah. So, we hung out once, and it was cool, and then we had a sleepover at one of the other color guard girls' houses, and she called the guy, the person whose house it was, and she was like, so do you like me? Do you like her or not? And he's like, well, yeah, I like her. And I was kind of like, oh my god, really? Like, you like me? You know, that whole type of shtick. And we went to the park again at some point after that phone call. And, like, we went over there, and he was just kind of getting, like, closer to me. Like, we were just talking the whole time. Everyone else is kind of being, you know, dorks and playing on the swing sets and everything. We were just hanging out. And he kissed me. And I was like, oh god, you know, like, this guy's super hot, like, he just kissed me, is this a thing, like, is this real life right now? What is going on? So yeah, that happened, and, like, we talked a little bit longer, and then by the end of the night, he was basically like, so do you want to date? And I was like, okay. So, like, literally that relationship was so bogus, like, all we ever did was, like, make out and hang out, that was it, there was no substance to it, really. So down the road, like, I think we were dating 3 or 4 months, and everything just went to hell in a handbasket, because, like, there were signs, and, like, I knew the signs were there, but I didn't want to accept it, because, like, I finally had, like, a boyfriend, you know, and I wanted to feel loved, and I wanted to know what it felt like to be loved and everything. And, like, we haven't been dating a month, and he automatically, like, he just one day, like, took all of our stuff off Facebook and, like, was like, oh no, like, I just don't want to put it on Facebook right now. I'm just not ready for that. I'm like, I should have known then. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? But, you know, teenage me didn't think things through immediately, and some of my other friends were like, what do you mean he's not ready? Like, he was ready a month ago. What is this? And I was like, I don't know. And people were like, maybe he's up to something. And I said, I don't know, like, well, I'll figure it out. So, this idiot would let, like, anybody and everybody post him on Facebook, and I swear on my life, and some of my friends who knew me back then can vouch for this, he probably has slept with almost all of Indiana. That I found out. He had slept with, like, everybody. He was dating people behind people's backs. Like, he was a slut. Like, that's the best way to describe. He was a man slut. And I kind of stopped talking to him for a little bit. I was just like, okay, but I was really broken up about it. And then, like an idiot, he was like, I just want to come over and fix things, blah, 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 and I believed him. And we hung out a couple more times, and then November, like, I'll never forget this, because not that it's something I want to remember, but it was just so scarring to me that it's just never going to go away. So one night, he was like, I decided to have a party, because I always like to have parties just because people, like, I wonder if anyone ever, like, caught on to that I would have parties at my house because that was the only way I could hang out with people. Yeah. Think about that. I was never allowed to go out, but I always had parties. So, anyone who went to my parties, you can, consider that why. Like, I didn't have parties just because I felt like it. I had parties just because I wasn't allowed to go out anywhere, and if I brought people there, I'd at least be able to hang out with them sometimes. But anyway, had a party, and all my friends were there. My ex-boyfriend shows up, and he was, like, super clingy with me. Like, all he wanted to do was, like, kiss me and keep me, like, kind of away from my friends and everything. And there was actually another guy there that I went to high school with that I had a crush on, and he was kind of like, I don't know, he's giving me mixed vibes now that I think about it, and I was like, I probably should have, like, tried to delve into that and see where that would have gone, but, you know, me being an idiot, I probably ruined my chance, and it's fine, like, it's whatever. So at one point we leave the party because we had to go get something. And, like, I just left half my guests at the house, and then I just left with my other friends. And, like, the one guy I kind of was getting vibes from that he wanted to, like, talk to me privately or whatever, messaged me, and he's like, hey, thanks for inviting me, I'm leaving now. And, like, now that I think about it, it just makes me feel so cringy. Like, oh, like, I probably would have had a better relationship with that dude than the other dude I was with. But, we went to Walmart for some stupid reason, and we came back, and my mom was livid. She's like, why did you leave the house, blah, 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 like, you have people here, I don't even know these kids, and, you know, just screaming at me, embarrassing me, you know, but at the time I didn't care. So, the night's winding down, like, most of the people who weren't going to spend the night at my house were gone. It was basically a couple of my girlfriends, and then the guy. And my parents were like, he cannot stay the night, like, absolutely not, you're 16, you're not having a guy stay over. And I was like, uh-huh. So I don't remember how exactly we got him back in the house. We got him back in the house at one point in the evening. And half of my friends were asleep at that point, and the other half were in the room they were watching things. We'll just keep it at that. And it was me and my ex-boyfriend, and this one chick I thought was a friend. Okay? Follow me here. So, we're in my basement, like, everyone's asleep at this point, because I wake up to the guy, like, kissing me. And, like, you know, teenagers are, like, we were getting hot and heavy. And I was a virgin at this point. And he tried to, like, initiate having sex. And I was like, whoa, first of all, I'm a virgin. Second of all, I'm not doing that with, like, a guy who's not even actually, like, committed to me. Third of all, it was literally, like, here was us, and then my friends were, like, right here. Like, he really wanted to have sex with me, with, like, all these people, like, sleeping right here. And I was like, you can get the fuck out with that shit. So I told him no. I was like, I'm not ready. That's what I just said. I was like, I'm not ready. And keep in mind, the person that I absolutely despise, because of this whole situation, is sleeping next to him. Like, he's in the middle, like, it's me and then this other girl. So, that night, he was like, okay, I totally understand. Like, I just want to be here with you. Like, I'll wait as long as it takes. You know, that stupid shit that they feed you, so you keep coming back for more. And I was like, okay, like, I'm glad you're gonna wait. So I go to bed. I don't know what happened after that, to be honest. Like, I don't know if he started talking to her, because the next morning, everyone leaves. My parents left the house because they found out he had slept at the house and was basically threatening to, like, beat the shit out of me when they got home. And I was like, okay, well, as soon as he leaves, you can do whatever, I guess, you know, because that's how great parenting they were. Like, I was so starved for attention that I was going to sneak in a guy that I was interested in, and then, like, they don't try to talk to me. They're just like, we're literally going to beat your ass when we get home. And I was like, all right, well, I'll deal with that. So he was at the house for, like, ever, and we were hanging out, and he was just, like, trying to do things again, and I said no. And he's like, okay, I'll wait as long as it takes. And then, like, we took a nap. Like, fucking get this. He's like, okay, I'll wait as long as it takes. We take a nap, we get up, and he's like, let's go to the mall at, like, 9 o'clock at night. So we went to the mall. And on the way there, he's like, I think we should just be friends. And I was like, oh, yeah? And he's like, yeah, I think we should just be friends. And I was just like, okay. So, of course, I'm starting to, like, be really upset, because, like, all the things that he, like, I can't even honestly tell you exactly all he said, but he had me swooned, where it's like, he's gonna wait for me, and, like, everything will be fine. It's just, like, a rough patch or whatever. Come to find out, he had been texting the girl that was laying on the other side of us the whole night, and she, oh god, I just remembered that part. Like, some of it I have it blocked, but I just remembered now. Let me backtrack a little bit. Before we went to the mall, she had called him, and he's like, oh, you want to talk to her? And I have no idea who he's talking to at this point, so I have the phone, and I'm like, yeah? And I knew who it was, and she's like, I don't know how to tell you this, but, like, he's been talking to me all night, and, like, I have a crush on him and everything, and, like, I don't know what to do. And I was like, oh, for real? And she's like, yeah, like, I just don't want to hurt you because I know we're really good friends, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, Like, back then I was kind of a pushover, so I was like, yeah, okay. Like, I didn't really say anything. I really wish I would have cussed her the fuck out for that. So, yeah, we went to the mall. He said he wanted to be friends, and I was like, So there was that. So, like, I was just dealing with a lot where it was like, okay, so he doesn't want to be with me just because I'm not ready to have sex with him. He is talking to this person I thought was my friend, who actually turned out to be a whore, because after everyone found out what happened, like, the Monday we went back to school, she, like, I think she got ostracized, if I remember correctly, because everyone didn't want to talk to her after that, because it was like, how shitty are you that your friend is going through this, and you tried to hop on him, like, not even after they were broken up yet. And she's like, no, you know what, I'm just not going to do it, like, I have feelings for him, but my relationship with me is more important. And I was like, fuck you. After that, we were not, like, I had to tolerate her because we were in color guard together, but after that, I was like, you can suck the biggest part of my ass with that, like, fuck you. Oof, like, it was, like, that was probably one of the most painful experiences of my life. It's just, like, not only did this guy that was, like, so perfect for me, like, turned out to be a fuckboy, was trying to use me, essentially, and then someone I thought was a close friend basically said, fuck your friendship, I want to be with him. Like, I'm not even going to respect girl code. And to this day, I cannot stand this bitch. Like, let's just say karma has gotten the best of her, and, you know, I went through a bunch of shit with that, but where I am now, like, it's just funny to think about. But a side note with that dude is he actually tried to play with my emotions one more time before I finally cut it off. We went to a Christmas dance together because he promised to be my date, like, before we ended things. And the whole night, he's like, I think I want to work it out. Like, I'm tired of being who I am. Like, I want to change for you. But then at the end of the night, he was like, I think we should be friends. Like, he would just play fucking mind games. Like, oh my god, fuck that dude. So a couple of years down the road, he messages me randomly one night and was like, I know you don't like, I know you hate me, but I just needed someone to talk to. And I was like, fucking what? So he messages me and was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I think I ruined someone's life. And I was like, what are you talking about? Long story short, he told me that he had given a girl herpes. And I was like, what the fuck? You give someone herpes? And he's like, yeah, like, it's on her face and everything, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, before I even continue talking to you, did you know you had herpes before you had sex with her? And he's like, yeah, I knew, but I didn't know. And I was like, no, fuck you. I don't want to talk to you. How fucking dare you? And, like, I literally wanted to beat the shit out of him for that. I didn't even know the girl. And I was like, how fucking foul. Like, to this day, I'm so glad that I went with my gut feeling and was like, I'm not having sex with you. Like, no, I'm not having sex with you. And just, oh my god, like, every day I'm like, what if he had something, you know? Like, what if I would have caught something? Like, I would have ruined my life. So, yeah, like, that just shows what the type of person he is. Like, he knew he had an STD and still, like, had sex with someone without telling them, by the way. Like, he didn't tell her. And, like, God only knows how many STDs he has now, but, like, that was the most painful, like, first heartache experience I've ever had. And, like, I didn't actually get beaten for it because I told them, like, we broke up because of X, Y, and Z. And they're like, okay. And I literally the next day, my mom made me take family pictures with my sister because that was just something she made us do every Christmas. And it was literally the next day, and I'll have to pull the picture up sometime and show you, but it's literally like my sister's sitting here, and then there's me, and like my eyes are just so swollen from crying because I was so heartbroken over it. And I finally got over it, and like, I just take it as a life lesson because I learned right off the bat, like, how to look for the signs, you know, like, this is clearly going to get you heartbroken, or this could get you an STD, or, you know, like, I have all the warning signs now, so I got really good at weeding out the bullshit. So, you know, after that, I was like, you know what, I think I'm good on guys. I think I'm fine at that time. So, I think I'll cut it off here, but I'll leave with this little tidbit. The other story I was going to tell that I haven't told anyone is actually, like, kind of what happened after that whole situation. This was between this dude and then when I met, like, someone who I was really close to for so many years. Like, we were kind of on and off again type of thing. This was when, oddly enough, this is when To Catch a Predator was a huge thing. Like, my parents absolutely did not want me to have a MySpace, right? So I didn't have a MySpace for a while. Like, I secretly had a MySpace. But they never told me anything about this website called Teen Spot, right? Which was apparently a thing on the show. Like, go fucking figure. Like, Teen Spot was okay, but MySpace wasn't. And, we'll just say, because I'll save this for I'll save it for tomorrow's video. I was an idiot, and I talked to a lot of people I probably shouldn't have talked to. And I actually had one come to my house, and my parents had no idea, and, like, I hate calling it this, but, like, it's essentially, I was, like, sexually assaulted by, like, a pedophile, basically. Like, I can talk about it and not really have a problem talking about it because I didn't really see it as sexual assault at the time because, like, I didn't care. But now when I think about it, it's like, I was, like, 16, and this dude, like, probably was, like, 24, 25 maybe. And it just creeps me the fuck out now when I think about it, but, like, I didn't actually have sex with him, just to preface that. Like, I'll go in the whole story tomorrow, but, like, I feel like an idiot for even thinking that was okay, first of all. Second of all, like, that just shows how much my parents didn't actually keep track of me, because they had a dude in their house at one point, and they had no idea. They had no idea I'd been talking to people. And, like, nobody knows this. Like, my husband knows a few pieces of the story, but I haven't told him, like, everything, just because, like, I don't know how to bring it up in conversation. Like, it's a really weird thing to bring up.